What's going on, everybody? This is the Daily Fantasy Show brought to you by DFO. I am Josh. You hear Avery over there. Sorry for one of my lights went out, so it might be a little fuzzy. But we're here.
Yeah, we got toys.
We got toys. We got Hatchimals.
Hatchimals, yes.
Yep. We got Num Nums. We got Little Sisters.
And
Cutie Cars. But we're rocking out here.
Cutie Cars.
Yeah. You gonna come over and say hi?
Yeah.
Everyone wants to see you. No one's seen you in a month. There he is. Say hi.
Hi.
All right. You can go back and play now. We had to get you on camera there for a minute. All right, so we have a 12-game slate tonight.
What this egg?
I'll hatch this egg while we do the show. What's going on, everybody? It's a 12-game slate. I don't know if there's, like, obvious landing spots. Maybe Buffalo might, but, we'll get there.
I like Buffalo.
You like Buffalo?
Yeah.
Okay, Avery likes Buffalo. But we'll go through the games. Rules of the show.
I got this Num Num.
If I'm on a specific game, I didn't bring a razor with me to the hospital, so at this point, I'm getting an early start on my playoff hockey beard. It's really gingery, but it's some gray, too. Man, I'm getting old. But rules of the show.
Turn off.
Let's try to abide by them. There's only one rule. No touching of the hair and face. No, that's not the rule. Questions. You can ask specific questions about the game I'm on. If not, hold until the end, and then I'll get there. Makes everything flow a little bit better.
One more toy.
I can't do Montoya chalk, but we'll talk about it. I hope Montoya is chalk. First game of the night. We have the St. Louis Blues traveling to Boston to face the Bruins.
This one.
Yeah. It's going to be, I believe, Jake Allen against Tuukka Rask. Jake Allen starting for the first time since the Ronald Reagan administration. Hopefully he's out of his own head.
Daddy, open this.
I'm not sure if it really matters. This isn't a game that really jumps off the page for me in terms of DFS tonight. Bergeron's probably going to be going up against, Stasny and Tarasenko. So, St. Louis 2 is not a bad option. Not yet, buddy. Sorry. Get settled here. My computer froze, so that's good. So we're going blind. There we go. Yeah, so, I mean, if you want to pick on Jake Allen tonight, I think, that's okay. I mean, I don't know. He was really bad before he got benched. Carter Hutton has proven me wrong. He's been really good, but it is Jake Allen tonight. So, can you go with Boston tonight? Absolutely. I'll open this after. This is a lot of paper.
No.
You can play with everything else, okay? Boston's a tad bit expensive. I mean, even without Marchand, they're still over 19,000 a full stack. If I'm going to go that expensive, I'd probably use Tampa. I don't know if I want to use Dallas. There's some uncertainty with their lines, but if it is the top line loaded, they are super expensive. So, I mean, Boston might be a nice contrarian pivot from Tampa or Dallas. Yeah, I would expect them to be around 5-6%. Ooh, there we go. And Danton Heinen's still up there with Bergeron and Pasternak. Charlie McAvoy is skating, but he is not back in yet. So I think Torrey Krug and Chara still where you want to go. From a DFS standpoint, I'm not overly thrilled about this game. I don't want to use the Tarasenko line because they're going to get Bergeron. If you want to, one-off Tarasenko, that's fine. He's an elite player, but, I probably will look elsewhere.
Yes, I'm opening toys. Yes, I'm opening toys.
No, I was not. I'm in the Diamond one tomorrow, so that's NBA. You don't hear me bitching about it. I play NBA, so I'd much rather play NHL because NBA is just ridiculous at this point. Anyway, St. Louis isn't really interesting to me. If I'm going to use anyone from this game, it's going to be Boston 1 and then maybe St. Louis 2. But I think there's better spots than both tonight. In net, let's talk about that real quick.
And what's the noises? What's the noises, Daddy?
Tuukka Rask is 8,000 going against St. Louis. That's a tough. I don't know if I want to use that in GPPs. I don't want to pay. I don't know if I want to pay 8,000 for Tuukka. There's some good cheaper goalies tonight. Pekka Rinne is less expensive. Cam Ham Ward is less expensive. I don't know if you want to go there. But Jake Allen is 7,500. If you're banking on him bouncing back, I think he's a decent GPP option at 7,500. It's risky, but you know that's what gets you. You got to risk it for the biscuit sometimes.
Is this a scroll, Daddy?
There we go.
Wow.
But again, you know, I think there's better goalie options, but you know, I wouldn't dismiss Jake Allen just because he's been bad. Maybe he has his head back on straight. But it's a large slate, and we'll get to all of that. So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Florida Panthers traveling to Buffalo to face the Sabres. It's going to be Chad Ochocinco-Johnson against Harry Carey Sateri. Love the goalie match in this game. Not.
Wow.
I think this is going to be a popular landing spot for players. Yes. Okay. Now that I unwrapped everything, I can concentrate. Buffalo loaded their top line. It's Eichel, Kane, and Okposo. I think they're one of the better plays of the night tonight. They may be chalky, but I don't know. It's kind of a hard fade for me just because, you know, they loaded the top line. Evander Kane loves to shoot. Eichel's been great. Okposo is not a plug. They're all on the power play together, and people underestimate how bad Florida actually is with shot suppression. I think they give up the most or the second most shots per game in the NHL. It is a third-string goalie. I know he won against the Islanders, but the Islanders have been playing terrible. So I think this is a really good spot for Buffalo 1. You know, yeah, they're probably going to have, you know, decent ownership, but you know, maybe if you pair them with you know, Ristolainen, and then get a little creative with your second stack, I think, you know, you can differentiate. Or you want to take a stand, you can fade, you know, completely understandable. On the flip side of this game, I also like the top two lines for Florida. I know people are souring on Nick Bjugstad, but he still is only 4,000. He does shoot the puck.
Okay.
For as good... I mean, Buffalo's numbers haven't been great, but for as good as that top line is for Buffalo, they're just as bad defensively. So, I mean, I like Florida in this game too. I mean, from a preference standpoint, I do like the top line, Barkov, Dadonov, and Bjugstad, but I also do like the second line, Malgin, Trocheck, and Huberdeau. Just be careful, okay? I think, you know, both those lines are in play. If you're going to go with the... I think I prefer Aaron Ekblad. I know Keith Yandel had a better game last time. He does correlate a bit better on the power play. I think he's okay as well. But from a peripheral standpoint, shooting standpoint, I prefer Ekblad. So I think, you know, if you... A way to maybe get creative is game stacking on a 12-game slate. Not too many people like to get all their players from a 7 o'clock game on a 12-game slate, but I think this is a good matchup for both teams offensively. I know the Sabres power play hasn't been great, but they've been really good recently. You know, both have really good offensive matchups. I think this is a nice game to target in GPPs. Goalies in this game, Chad Johnson, 7,200. He's even cheaper, or, well, relatively cheaper compared, you know, with the pricing on FanDuel. I think, you know, I've talked to some people who want to use Chad Johnson.
I'm in the bed.
No. You can play with your toys. And then we'll go upstairs and get your iPad, okay?
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, Chad Johnson, if you're using Buffalo, you want to correlate. That's about all the Chad Johnson exposure I want. Not even thrilled about that. That's not a lock that Buffalo wins. They're Buffalo, after all.
Yeah, they're Buffalo.
Yeah, they're Buffalo. Sateri, no interest. I know he won last game, but even at 7,000, I just can't do it. I honestly would much prefer using Auntie Ranta for 6,800 than Sateri. I think it's a bit better. I mean, well, I don't know if it's a bit better matchup, but I trust Ranta a little bit more. But we'll get to that game when we get to it. Let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Philadelphia Flyers on a back-to-back.
I'm a gig.
Okay. Traveling to New Jersey to face the Devils. It's going to be Keith Kincaid against Alex Lyon. He came in relief yesterday for Michael Neuwirth, who had the stomach flu. That would have been nice information to have before the slate started yesterday.
I don't know how to do this.
I don't know. It's good. There you go. Alex Lyon, just because you never heard of him doesn't mean he's not good. He has a good pedigree. He played in the World Juniors. Not this tournament. I know he placed in one of them for the Czech Republic, I want to say. Or, yeah, something like that. I mean, he's not no slouch, but he's not up in the NHL for a reason. But this is his first NHL start. He has 7,100. I think, you know, the Devils are a decent play tonight. Especially the top line. I mean, they're under 17,000 full stack. It's Taylor Hall. I know Taylor Hall is really expensive, but if he stays healthy and keeps reducing, I think there's a chance you can throw him in the Hart conversation. I don't know if he's there yet, but he's one of those type of players. Especially with, you know, the Flyers being on a back-to-back, I think, even though it is right after the All-Star break, I think, you know, you can look to attack with New Jersey. On the flip side, the Flyers, you know, I wrote up, you know, the second line, Patrick. They added a Voracek assist this morning. But, you know, that ended up working okay. But I know it's Keith Kincaid, but, you know, personal preference for me. Back-to-back on the road on such a big slate, I think I'm probably going to fade and go to another spot. On defense, I think Sammy Vatanen is still the person I want to use for the Devils, even though Butcher's on power play 1. And on the Flyers side, I think I prefer Provorov to Ghost, but Ghost does
That's a good bottle.
his damage on the power play, so using Ghost is still perfectly fine. Let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Toronto Maple Leafs traveling to the Garden to face the Rangers. It is going to be Curtis McElhenney or whatever, how you pronounce that, I don't even know. We'll call him Curtis E. Against, I would assume Henrik Lundqvist. I don't know why Lundqvist won't start. That remains to be seen. He may be even confirmed from the last time I checked. But I think this is a good spot for the Rangers top line. The problem that I have with the Rangers, they have a couple viable lines, and you don't know where the scoring comes at home. They always get, you know, the Leafs are probably going to outshoot them tonight.
It's
like
shoes.
It's shoes?
Yeah.
Cool.
Take a song off.
You know, the Leafs are probably going to outshoot the Rangers tonight because that's just how the Rangers are. But, you know, I think this is a good spot for the top line. Mika Zibanejad, Pavel Buchnevich, and Rick Nash. Does worry me that their second line is nice as well. I think you can go there. Kevin Hayes, JT Miller, and somebody. Help me out here.
Oh no. Just put more sign.
It's okay. I'll get it out in a minute. Zook. Yeah, that's it. I always forget about that crazy feisty hobbit. Yeah, you know, I like that second line as well. They're really cheap. I think they're like 12,000 and change the full stack on DraftKings. Let you get in the more expensive lines. I think they're going to be less owned than the Zibanejad line. All in all, I think, you know, Mika line is the better play, but I definitely don't mind that second line at all. JT Miller's 3,600, Kevin Hayes is 3,700. You know, they're super cheap. Let you get in what you want. They're very talented. They play well at home. So I'm gonna hatch it. So I think that is a nice landing spot as well. You know, McDonough on the power play now with Shattenkirk out is a very good value at 4,800. You want to go Brady Shea at 3,700 for power play too. Or if you want to keep punting, I think Tony DeAngelo is still a decent play at his price. On the flip side, you know, Leafs are back-to-back on the road, but this is still a really good spot for Matthews. Nice. I don't know, you know, I'm a one lineup guy, so I don't know if they're going to make the cut. Probably not, but just because I don't like using back-to-back on the road, I sound like a broken record every time I say that, but all in all, I mean, if you are on Toronto, you know, the Rangers are bad defensively, so I think, you know, there is merit to using Matthews tonight. He is really young, so I don't think he's going to be very tired tonight. A lot of people like to get up and play in the Garden, so they're in play as well. Jake Gardner, 5,000, getting a little bit pricey. Zaitsev is up to 3,500. I think he's okay. I don't know if you want to go to Dermott again. You can. He is 2,900, so that's a good price. So in net, I am completely fading goalies from this game. I don't really trust Henrik Lundqvist in this game. And Curtis, you know, my boy Curtis, not a fan. I think the Rangers light him up pretty good. I don't know, you can look. So I'm fading goalies from this game.
It's a dog.
So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Montreal Canadiens traveling to Carolina to face the Hurricanes. It's going to be Cam Ham Ward against Carey Price. Ward is 600 more than Carey Price. What a time to be alive. I will get there. I kind of like Carolina one tonight. You know, the TSA line is back together. Yeah, I know it's Carey Price. You know, Montreal isn't very good defensively. Schlemko is out. Shea Weber's still out. So, Carey letting 8,400 on the road. Give me a break. Cool.
This is his goal.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Sorry, taking a quick peek.
That won't be that, Daddy.
I don't really like this game from a DFS standpoint tonight. I mean, there is merit to using the TSA line. They're always good together. They're at home. They're gonna shoot a lot. It is Carey Price, but you're probably gonna get them pretty low owned. I'm probably not gonna use them in one lineup, or even like if I was making 1 to 3. But if I was making multiple lineups, I'd probably have a little bit of exposure there. On the Montreal side, I just, you know, I'm not a big fan of them tonight at all. Doesn't mean I'm going to be using Cam Ward.
It was a dog.
It was a dog.
It went.
You know, I don't even... Really, if I'm going to use Montreal at all, you know, I'll have like a little bit of Pacioretty, a little bit of Petrie, but other than that, maybe a little Drew and Galchenyuk, but I don't like attacking Carolina at home. Even if it's Cam Ward, he has been playing decently. So
Mommy figured it out.
I think, you know, they're both these goalies, Cam Ward, Carey Price, are viable in GPPs. I much prefer Carey Price at his price, 7,300. If you're using Carolina, want to correlate with Cam Ward, go ahead. Other than that, you know, I'm not overly pumped about using the goalies from this game. I think there's better spots. So let's move on to the next game of the night. We're still in the 7 o'clock games. We have, yeah, go ahead. We have the Anaheim Ducks traveling to Ottawa to face the Senators. It is Ryan Miller. That's a fox.
A fox.
Yeah. It is Ryan Miller against Mike Condon. Ryan Miller, 8,100 on DraftKings. Mike Condon, 6,900 on DraftKings. Nice. I think, Anaheim's definitely going to be a popular landing spot tonight for good reason. They're not overly expensive. They're a little over, I think 18,000 a full stack. This is a really good matchup for them with Condon in net. The Senators are a mess. Excuse me. It is Ryan Getzlaff, Raquel, and Silverberg. I think, as I mentioned on the show on Tuesday, save this line for another night. Tonight's the night.
Yeah.
They may bust. I'm personally not using them in my one lineup, but they definitely were almost in my final cut. So I'm going to use them with Cam Fowler if I was going to use them. If you want to use a secondary line, although, hold on. Anaheim won probably in my top handful of top plays tonight, so take that for whatever it's worth. If you want to go depth of Anaheim, I don't know if you need to dig that deep. I don't mind. I think, okay. I don't mind the depth lines. I think you can go there as well. I think they're going to be lower owned for sure. I'm not a huge fan of Kessler, Cogliano. I would prefer the third line, Henrique and Case. That's not how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm calling him. I'm not a big fan of Nick Ritchie, so you can definitely go with a mini with that. Maybe Brandon Montour, maybe Josh Manson, something like that.
What is it?
It looks like a worm.
That's a nail. It's a
Interesting Ottawa lines tonight. Guy Boucher mixing them up. I like the top line, Duchesne, Hoffman, and Ryan.
Ryan.
Yeah, especially against Ryan Miller. It's not John Gibson. He is hurt. I don't know if I want to use Ottawa tonight. They're only 13,000 the top line, which is kind of crazy cheap. They're probably up there. I mean, if you need a cheap line, I think that's a nice landing spot. In GPPs only, though, because probably a few hours into this game, you're probably going to be like, well, Ottawa's letting me down again. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. But for their price and matchup, I don't really like going against the Ducks when they're fully healthy, but it is Ryan Miller. If it was John Gibson, I'd tell you to fade Ottawa. But with Ryan Miller now, I think if you need a cheap line, I think the top line of Duchesne, Hoffman, and Ryan, not the worst landing spot in the world. Goalies in this game, like I said, Ryan Miller, 8,100. That's a tough pill to swallow for me. Mike Condon at 6,900 against the Ducks is also a tough pill to swallow. So I'd probably going to fade both these goalies, and if I was going to use them at all, I'd go with correlated lineups only.
Not playing toys. Not playing with toys.
You're done playing with your toys?
Yeah.
Well, we're almost done, so. Let's move on to the next game of the night. It's going to be the Vegas Golden Knights traveling to Winnipeg to face the Jets. Hold on. Computer froze on me, but I believe it's Marc-Andre Fleury against Connor Hellebuck. There we go. Yeah, Fleury's not confirmed yet, but Hellebuck is. I think Roslovic is still on the top line for Winnipeg. That kind of bumps them down a little bit. I know they're cheaper that way, but I much prefer Kyle Connor at this point. They do correlate on the power play if you do want to go back there. It's weird to say that I don't really want to target against the Golden Knights. They've been that good this season. So for me, I don't have too much interest in Winnipeg. I do like that top line. I'd like it much more if Kyle Connor was on there. But I'm kind of... This might be like one of those low-scoring affairs from the Winnipeg side, at least. From the Las Vegas side, you know, Vegas top line, they're expensive. They're a little over 19,000 a full stack. They're probably right around, top of the middle for me, if that makes sense. I don't know if I want to spend that money against Hellebuck, against the Jets, even though their PK is pretty bad. I think there's better landing spots than Vegas tonight. That's not to say that I wouldn't use them making multiple lineups. I would. So if you're making, more than 5, I have no issues with the Vegas exposure. I think they're right around the same play for me as like the Devils, the Predators, teams like that. The Vegas second line also in play as well. I know people like them more than me. I'm not too high on them, but they're under 18,000. They're going to be contrarian for sure. You can go there, with Colin Miller, Shea Theodore, Nate Schmidt. There's a whole bunch of defensemen you can use there. One thing I will say with Winnipeg, as long as Trouba's out, and he's going to be out for a while, I think, Dustin Byfuglien is a really nice play in all formats. I think he's up over 5,000 again now. I would be surprised if he isn't. But yeah. He's 5,000 on the nose. So I think, you can go Tyler Myers as well at 4,000. Goalies in this game, I do like Hellebuck. I do like Marc-Andre Fleury. I think this is a goalie battle. I think both are viable in GPPs for sure. Push comes to shove, I go Hellebuck just because they're at home. And, obviously if you're correlating, the correlating goalie makes sense. Almost. Not yet. So let's move on to the next game of the night. I'll get it eventually, bud. We have the LA Kings, traveling to Nashville to face the Predators. I think it's going to be Pekka Rinne. I'm not sure what the Kings are going to do. Is Quick back, or was he suspended, or... I think he's back. He wasn't hurt, I don't think. But anyway, Kings never confirm until warm-ups. And also, it looks like, just from the morning skate, even though they didn't commit to anything, it looks like Philip Forsberg is going to be back in. So the top 6 is going to be back to the way it was when Forsberg was in. I do like, I do like that top line: Forsberg, Johansson, Arvidsson. They're probably going to avoid Kopitar. That second line's probably going to get Kopitar, which takes me off the second line in Nashville tonight. But going forward, they're going to be on my radar for sure. The top line's probably going to get Kempe, which is a good matchup for Nashville. So, if you're in the wait and see approach because Forsberg was hurt, I understand. I think you can get them at a decent ownership because he's not confirmed in yet. So, Nashville one for me. I'd use Yossi or Subban, whichever correlates better on the power play. I think it's Subban, but you can check. In net, or on the Kings, yeah. Yeah, so he was suspended because he missed the All-Star game, right? He's just a douche. Yeah. For the Kings, I mean, I don't know. Until Jeff Carter comes back, this team is hurting. I don't mind Kopitar and Toffoli, but I don't like going against Nashville and the Turris line. For me, I'm kind of mum on the Kings tonight. I think there's definitely better landing spots tonight. If it is Quick, I don't mind him in GPPs. Yeah, I kind of agree there. Quick in GPPs makes sense. He's cheap at 7,300. Okay. Pekka Rinne, if you're using Nashville, definitely makes sense as well. He's been great. He's 7,900. That's a reasonable price for him. Yeah. I mean, I don't see, as much as I do like Nashville one, I would temper my expectations. The Kings are a tough team to play against. They muck it up in the neutral zone. They're very. If they get a lead, forget about it. They suffocate you like a python, or whatever snake suffocates you. So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Tampa Bay Lightning traveling to Calgary to face the Flames. Andre Vasilevsky against Mike Smith. How bad was that collapse for Calgary last game? Whew. That was bad. Anyway, the top line of Tampa is reunited. Kucherov, Stamkos, and Nemestikov. I don't know if they're going to explode tonight. They are going up against the 3M line, and even though they are a very good line defensively, that is one of the best lines offensively in the NHL, if not the best. So, yeah, and the power play for sure. The Flames' PK has been pretty suspect. So, I mean, if you want to spend up over $20,000 for Tampa, I'm not going to tell you no. We go over Tampa every single time they're together. It's hard to give analysis. You know what you're getting. So, interesting matchup for me is going to be Tampa Bay 2 against, the Gaudreau line. I'm a big Yanni Gourde guy. Yanni Gourde, Braden Point, and Tyler Johnson. They're overpriced, but I don't mind Tampa 2 tonight. On the flip side, Calgary won at home. If you want to go there, okay. I mean, I think there's better plays tonight. I really like Vasi in net tonight. I think he's one of the better plays on the slate. Even though they're on the road, I think you can use them in any format. So, the Flames are kind of middle of the road for me. Hedman's back, so Tampa Bay one with Hedman is really expensive, but I think you can do it. There's some really cheap depth lines tonight if you want to go that route. So, Vasi, all formats for me. Mike Smith, if you're fading Tampa Bay, and GPPs if you're feeling frisky. So, let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Colorado Avalanche traveling to Edmonton to face the Oilers. News from this game is Nathan McKinnon's out 2 to 4 weeks, which really, really hurts the Avs and their playoff chances. Kerfoot is going to move up into the top line, so it's Kerfoot, Rantanen, and Landeskog. That takes me right off of Colorado. I don't know. I mean, they are really good. But I do like Kerfoot. He is on the top power play as well. Yeah, just quickly on the Flames. They are, the 3M line is one of the best shutdown lines.
Yeah.
Again, I think Tampa Bay is kind of matchup proof, but I don't think I'm going to be using Tampa Bay just because of the matchup. If it burns me, it burns me. I think it's a big boost to McDavid. Oh, well, they always mix up the power plays. Confer. I want to wait and see how, Colorado reacts. They're still expensive. They're still like over 16,000, even though Kerfoot's up there with them. So if they were down like 14, 15,000, even like 13, 14, 15,000, I think I would be more interested in Colorado. But, at their price, 16,400, I think it is the full stack. The Florida Panthers are only $400 more, the top line. Buffalo's only $1,000 more. I think I'm going to fade. Even though it is Al Montoya, who has gotten blasted by the Oilers mainstream media, which is hilarious. That's the hill they die on for calling out a player, that Montoya isn't speaking to the media. Give me a fucking break. No goalie speaks to the media when they're starting. I think this is an Edmonton game for me. I like that top line. Philip is playing, but I don't know. I think this Terrace line is going to get Kopitar, which is not something I'm really interested in. Top line for Edmonton is interesting here. So it's Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Mike Camilleri. Camilleri's 3,200 playing against next to McDavid. I think Edmonton's going to be a pretty popular landing spot because of Camilleri. I don't think he is like 612 years old, but he still can shoot it. I think they're in play tonight for sure. They're under 17,000 a full stack. They're getting Bernier. They're getting McKinnon-less Avs. I think they're just gonna swarm them. So for me, it's a Edmonton 1 game. I would use Clefbaum if you want to fit it in. Otherwise, Darnell Nurse is actually more expensive than Clefbaum. I think both are okay. I can't get behind Colorado at all without McKinnon. So Edmonton's probably going to be a little bit popular, but this is a really, really good matchup. Goalies in this game are it's going to be weird. I have no interest in Bernier at 7,700. I think that's too expensive. Al Montoya at 7,000 is a bit interesting. I think he's going to be a bit popular with McKinnon out. I don't know about using Montoya. Again, I'd rather use some of the goalies under 7,000 more than I want to use Montoya at 7,000. But if you're using Edmonton, correlating makes sense. This might be a slate where you need to correlate. It's not like a wide open, clear cut type of slate. So correlating might save your tail a little bit. So let's move on to the next game of the night. We have the Dallas Stars traveling to Arizona to face the Coyotes. It's 8,400 Carey Lettinen. Give me a break. Against 6,800 Antti Ranta. The Stars practiced with different lines yesterday. It was Matthias Janmark with Sagan and Radulov, and then Jamie Benn was with Radek Vaska and Pitlick. But Hitchcock said... I don't know, but Hitchcock said don't buy into the practice lines, which is dumb, because why would you practice them if you're not going to use them in games? I don't know. But if those are the lines, I do like that top line for Dallas. That being said, something in my brain... something in my brain always goes back to when Martin Hansel was the top center for Arizona. And every time Dallas went to Arizona, they got absolutely manhandled possession-wise. Obviously, Hansel's not there. I don't know. Something in this game just screams Arizona to me, which is crazy. I really do like that top line for Dallas, though. If it is Janmark, it will put the public onto them. Because they're not like $54 million to full stack. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Dallas tonight outside of that line. Yeah, but Hjalmarsson is back. Chychrun is back. It doesn't. I mean, it does hurt them, but it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not like Klingberg went out for the Stars. Like, that would be devastating. Like, Demers is good, but I think he's overcome. You can overcome Jason Demers being out. Chychrun for sure is in play for me. I love Chychrun. I was hoping the Rangers would trade for him instead of Tony DeAngelo, but I don't pretend to know what the fuck NHL GMs are doing anymore. So outside of the Dallas top line, if you want to go to Arizona, they're super cheap. The top line, they're in play. I don't know. The thing is, like, Kari Lehtinen, he's 8,400. Kari Lehtinen, 8,400. Like, why? I just want to fade. I'm fading Lehtinen for sure. Like, I can't pay 8,400 for him. I can't pay 8,400 for anybody. Fuck. I don't think I'd ever pay for 8,400 for a goalie. You could tell me he's getting a shutout. I still probably wouldn't even pay for it. No, I don't know. I like Arizona in this game. I don't know. I have no statistics to back this up. Sometimes you just got to go with your gut, and I think this is an Arizona game. I think Arizona wins this game. It's a low-scoring game. I like Ronta and GPPs. He's 6,800. That's super cheap. He's better than that price tag. There's no way I'm paying 8,400 for Lehtinen. If you're going to use a line in this game, I think it's going to be Dallas one. You just got to wait and see what it is, because if Hitchcock does put Ben up on the top line, they're almost 23,000 full stack, which is just insanely expensive. Arizona 1 is okay. They're under 12,000 if you need a really cheap line. There's reverse line movement on Ronta. That's the one time I'll look at cheap goalies, is when there's reverse line movement on them. I know it doesn't really translate to DFS well, but it is something that I do look at a little bit. But I did have Ronta locked in this morning before the line started moving. Okay, we're almost done. Then we can go upstairs and get your iPad, okay?
No.
It's like 2 more minutes.
I want to.
We're on the last game, dude. We're going to the last game right now.
No.
The Chicago Blackhawks traveling.
I want to.
Okay. The Chicago Blackhawks traveling to Vancouver to face the Canucks. Anton Forsberg against Jacob Markstrom. I really like Chicago in this game, unfortunately. I don't like using the Hawks. That top line is cheap. They've been really good. Brock Besser definitely in play as well. Is Ruda and Forsling a line back? Are they back together? Because they're literally the worst defensive pair in the NHL. I'm not even just being a dick. Like, they're just the worst. Chicago one is Taze. I like both Chicago lines tonight. I do like the second line as well. Anytime you can get Kane and his line mates are under 18,000, I think that's something you need to do as well. One lineup, I'm not sure you have your own processes getting down to one lineup, but if you're making multiple, you definitely got to have a little bit of Chicago in there. Saad is so fast. Like, if they get good chemistry, they're going to be tough to defend. On the Vancouver side, let me look at the defensive pairings real quick. Let me pull that up. Because if Jan Ruda and Gustav Forsling are an actual defensive pair, again, I hope Besser is back with Horvat and Barchi, because I will be all over that line when my computer wants to load, whenever they want to do that. That'd be cool. You Blackhawks guys, if neither are in, okay, good. That's good for the Blackhawks. If you just want to now that those guys aren't in, I do like Anton Forsberg. I'm not like, let's play Anton Forsberg, but he is better than his numbers. With those two guys being out, it does boost their blue line a little bit. They're still pretty, Suter's going to get Kane, I would imagine. So, I like the Taze line. Yeah. Taze line is my preferred line, I think. With DeBrincat and Anthony Duclair, they're still really cheap. They've been really good. they're explosive. So, yeah, I mean, on the Vancouver side, I don't know if Besser's going to be back with Horvat and Barchi. They did play a little bit of the third period together last game, but they were losing. So, I mean, if Besser's with the Sedins, I don't mind that. They've been okay offensively with the Sedins. You know, they get the power play time. I'd be, you know, a little bit mum on them if that was the case, though. If Horvat, Barchi, and Besser are aligned, I think I'd be more apt to use that. Okay. Go ahead upstairs. I'll be up in a minute. Okay. Goalies in this game, Anton Forsberg. If using Chicago, I think makes sense to correlate. Jacob Markstrom. There we go. Well, I'll pick you up in a minute. Jacob Markstrom is an okay play at home. I don't know. You have to wait and see in warm-ups, but they did practice with Janmark up there. So, any questions? I'll take for like a minute or two before Avery, you know, completely mauls me. You want to come get your Hatchimals? Yeah. Janmark is on power play 1, so. Okay, top goalies tonight. I don't know if you need to go to Connor or Perry because all they're going to see is power play time. On a short slate, I'd say that's more viable, but on a big slate, I don't know if you need to go there. Top goalies. Vasilevsky for sure. I think Pecorine in both formats as well. Marc-Andre Fleury, Hellebuck. If you're going cheaper, I think in GPPs, the ones I mentioned before are viable in cash. In GPPs, I'm not a huge fan of Jake Allen, but I think at his price, you can take a stab. I also don't mind Anton Forsberg. Carey Price to 7,300 is interesting to me. And then Ronta at 6,800. I don't know if Roslovic's going to get a goose egg, but he needs to, you know, be a little bit sheltered first, like Kyle Connor was when he came up last year. Favorite lines tonight, Buffalo, Florida, Anaheim, Chicago, the Oilers, the Rangers. Oh, ow. Yeah, I don't like, you know, Brian Little is, he's kind of like Joe Thornton light is the way D-Man punts, right, thank you. I knew I forgot something. I think you can go to Dermott at 2,900. He played almost 20 minutes last night. He's not as good as Thornton, but I think which Florida line? I think I would go Florida 1, then Florida 2. Yes, Gustafsson is in play for Chicago. He's on the power play. I also like Nikita Zaitsev. When my computer wants to, you know, be my friend, I will. You know, Chikrin is at 3,900. Vince Dunn. Hold on, there's more.
My cutie card. No, my cutie card.
Yeah, I mean, he looked good last night, but it is kind of chasing points. Jacob Slavin at 3,600 is okay. Yeah, I mean, I do like the Kadrian. They are back-to-back on the road, but it is the Rangers, so I think, you know, those Leaf lines are in play for me. Yeah, Jordan Oesterle is under 4,000 again. That's a really good time to use him. computer's really being a pain in the ass here. Okay, I don't mind Tony D'Angelo at 3,400. Josh Morrissey, 3,500. Josh Manson. Even Michael Del Zotto is a decent play at 3,300. Gerard is still on power play 1, but I don't know if you want to go there. Yeah, D'Angelo's up. Who else we got? John Moore at 3,000 if you really want to go there. That's really about it. I mean, Cody Cece at 3,100. You know, you can get some block shots. Severson if you're chasing that 2-goal game again. It's really, I mean, I don't think, yeah, Matheson's okay. I was going to say Schlemko, but he's out. Connor Carrick at 3,000 if you want to go away from Zaitsev. Chabot, if you really, I don't know if you want to go Senators, but Chabot's not too bad. Yeah, Brandon Montour. Let me see. If you're going under 3,000, let's check it out. Let's see if we have some deep dives here.
Wow, there's so many.
If you want to go Pizik.
Wow.
I don't know. That's really about it. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Ham, too. Yeah. Woo! There it is. That's why you're grumpy. Had to get that out.
Yeah.
Woo!
I get that.
Oh, you got that out for sure.
Yes. Wow. Me too. Mama, could the car go drive?
All right, guys. So that will wrap up this 12-game Thursday slate. If you didn't get your question in, you feel free to @ me on Twitter. Catch me in the DFO premium chat. Good luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
Avery says bye. Say bye.
Bye.
Avery says bye.
Say bye, Daddy.
Got some NBA free rolls, but if you are in the platinum free roll Tuesday, it is NHL, which is awesome. So I will be back for sure. I'll be back tomorrow with the show. I'll have an article out tomorrow as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. Good luck.